Yeah. So this is episode 5 of Build with Stakki, and this week we have a very good friend of mine who I've known for 6 years, 7 years now, a long time, right?
I think right before COVID, I think something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So 5, maybe 6 years, and we have Arnaud of the Scale Lab and Scale List now. So Arnaud, would you like to introduce yourself to everyone? Give us a little bit of your background.
For sure. So, thank you for having me. First of all, Tony,
My
it's a
pleasure.
pleasure. And so I'm Arnaud. I'm the founder of two companies. So one is an agency named Scalab. We do mostly lead generation, outbound lead generation for B2B tech companies in Asia Pacific mostly. For the record, the reason why we target Asia Pacific is because I'm based in Singapore and my business partner Youssef is also based in Hong Kong, and the new managing director of Scalab is also based in Hong Kong, Thibaut. So I'm not really operating Scalab anymore. I'm mostly focusing my time on Scalelist, which is a SaaS product that we launched a little bit more than a year ago. And since I would say 4 to 8 weeks, I'm 100% involved uh, in the development of this company, meaning I have 100% of my time dedicated to this company. And
Nice.
Scalelist is a LinkedIn Sales Navigator scraper and enricher, so it helps you to grab data from LinkedIn Sales Navigator, clean that data, and enrich it with valid emails and phone numbers in like one click and just a few seconds or minutes based on the database that you want to get from LinkedIn Sales Navigator.
Nice. Excellent.
That's it.
And how have you found that transition then from that services to SaaS? I'm sure tons of sales leaders that might be
Um,
watching, that's transitions they're familiar with over the
the
last couple of years.
transition, the transition is on my professional life. I mean, I can split that transition in two ways. For my professional life, my role changed a lot
Mhm.
because I'm doing a lot less sales, like hardcore sales that you do when you like operate a service company. Um, it's mostly a lot of marketing. What I mean by marketing is like creating. Oh, there's a thumbs up. Creating creating YouTube videos for the Scale List channel, like tutorials on how to use LinkedIn Sales Navigator and how to manage database outside of LinkedIn Sales Navigator for sales and business development people and also marketing
Mhm.
people. Um, Running my own YouTube channel. I'm running the customer support. And I mean, it's sales, but it's different. It's mostly like inbound sales.
Yeah.
Um, Creating content for LinkedIn, running also. We're going to start like Google ads
Yeah.
starting this week actually with Simon.
Yeah. One of my
So
intros. Yeah.
exactly that you recommended to us. So
Good.
see, great guy. And so it's mostly inbound sales and helping also Youssef. I mean, I'm not very involved in the product, but whenever there is something that needs to be tested, I'm kind of the guinea pig.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that part is also very important. Versus before, when I was doing like the service business full time, it was creating like crazy content for LinkedIn because I mean that's how you really get the inbound leads. But
Mhm.
also I was like prospecting. I was constantly meeting with like potential new clients, also meeting with the existing clients,
Yeah.
trying to help the team. I mean, you know what it is to run a service business.
Mhm.
Every day is different, and it's a lot of stuff that are cool and stuff that are very complicated. Um, and on
Well,
the other hand, I think I'm learning a lot of things right now. Like
yeah.
during that transition, it's because my background is not marketing. I've done 8 to 10 years of sales, like hardcore sales before, like
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
and now it's mostly like inbound. Even if I grew a decent audience on LinkedIn, marketing is
Yeah.
vast, and YouTube is a new machine,
Hmm.
new acquisition channel that
Yeah.
I really enjoy learning about. So I'm doing like master classes,
Yeah.
a lot of A/B testing on YouTube. Also, one thing that I forgot is we are working with very competent SEO agencies. So I've done SEO mistakes
Interesting.
last year,
Yeah.
quite a lot, hiring the wrong people.
Yeah.
My fault, huh? And after that, we were like, okay, let's take one agency who did B2B SaaS before
Yeah.
and who knows exactly what should be done.
Yeah.
And we found them after after like many interviews and also some recommendations from people that we value quite a lot in the industry. And so far, it's going pretty well. So I have
Tons of
a few
experience.
acquisition channels
Yeah.
that are mostly inbound to manage either by myself or with the help of a provider, a freelancer, or an agency. So that's the job on top of customer support.
But one of the interesting point there though is like whilst you're going through this transition, learning all these new like acquisition channels and I
Mm-hmm.
guess like more like content or marketing led to create inbound, like you're working on all those acquisition channels.
Mm-hmm.
You said something which like you're kind of the guinea pig for your own tool a lot of the time
Mm-hmm.
because you spent so long doing pure outbound
Mm-hmm.
sales and like you've done such a good job of that in the past, like it makes sense. It's you're building the tool
Mm-hmm.
to to suit the audience, and you
Mm-hmm.
were in a previous life that perfect ICP,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And that's where I think like a lot of the tools in the market, the person building them isn't always they
No, for
don't
sure.
necessarily have that background, and it's frustrating sometimes.
And the reason why we created Scalelist is because we had that problem for Scale Lab. And we were
Exactly.
like, oh, okay, how can we try to build something that we own and see if this could be valuable for the team?
Yeah.
And it was as well for us. And we were like, okay, but it's not it's not like just I mean, for now it's just like a one feature SaaS
Mhm.
product, but things are evolving very, very fast right
Yeah, of
now,
course.
and specifically with that AI wave that we are going through since December 2022, I guess.
Yeah.
Since OpenAI was like, okay, we are going to release the first version of ChatGPT,
Yeah.
and so since then things are going very, very fast, and then it means that the product is going to be able to evolve quite a
Mhm.
bit
Mhm.
and differentiate as well from the current competitors that we have.
Yeah.
So, and
And
the team as well. Sorry to interrupt you, but the team as well at Scale Lab is also part of the guinea. I mean, they are guinea pigs
yeah,
as well. Like they are
exactly.
providing feedbacks constantly.
And that's a good segue to dive into like I guess this build with Stakki, the main part of this show
Hmm.
show. But I guess we probably like mostly will look at building the stack for the stack that your Scale Lab team are using, and obviously
Hmm.
part of that will be,
Exactly.
I'm sure, the scale list. So, and we'll just we'll talk through why you've made this certain decisions, how the team actually set up maybe the CRM, set up certain things.
Hmm.
Um, so let's dive in. And uh, as a starting point, which CRM are you guys using at the moment?
HubSpot.
Why HubSpot? Was that just the one you always have used, or did you sort of compare it to others?
Um, I mean, no, we've always used a spot, but in the past I've used Pipedrive, I've used Salesforce,
Yeah,
and I just I just prefer HubSpot. Honestly,
yeah,
it's uh, it's not that complicated. You can do a lot of things inside the CRM
hmm
itself. So. yeah, for us it works pretty well. I've checked Atio or yeah,
Yeah,
Atio.
Atio. Yeah,
Yeah, I've checked briefly. I mean, if we need to do a switch at some point, maybe we will go for that one. But I see
interesting.
quite a few CRM popping up uh, over the past few months,
Yeah,
just to simplify like that industry, because sometimes like I would say, like, for example, Salesforce, to me it's like it's a nightmare to be on Salesforce. I've been
yeah.
there and you get lost. HubSpot, the bigger they become, sometimes if you want to go with advanced features, I mean, you can get lost as well.
Mm,
So the simpler the better, I would say. But so
yeah,
far with HubSpot, it's fine.
yeah. It's a good point, and it's a point that I don't think many or any of our previous guests have like sort of made, that there are more and more CRMs popping up like Atio,
Yeah.
and I think like there's one called Prospect CRM, a few others obviously that are coming up, and I think because there are so many businesses out there now, and everything got so complicated, like you don't have to look at these traditional
Exactly.
CRMs that I've got here, which like they no longer have that monopoly,
Yeah.
and it's about these other ones are built with like the current state of outbound sales, or the current state
Exactly.
and the current like sales tool ecosystem in mind. So
Mhm.
I've been going to be looking at Atio and stuff as well, just seeing like how they compare, what's good, and why they might be a good option.
And also I feel that salespeople in general, uh, the job of a salespeople is already very complicated.
Yeah,
I mean, you have, of course, it's a vibrant job, like in the sense that you need to be in. It's a sport, so you need to
mm,
be in shape every day to be able to do your work
yeah,
and make sure that you bring enough revenue. I mean, you reach your target
yeah,
to basically not lose your job.
yeah.
I I mean, to put it very, I mean, to
That's
be
it.
very straightforward,
Yeah.
that's the role of a salesperson. So if on top of that you have complicated tools,
Hmm.
I mean, you make your life a lot more complicated.
Yeah.
So I think the simpler, the better.
And that's like what we're trying to avoid, right? That like shiny tool syndrome, like because there are, this page is evident, and I'm trying to keep it lean. Like there's so many
Yeah,
options here, but like you don't necessarily, and this is why we're kind of doing this video series, is that often the tools and the stacks that people are building in these videos, they're not that complicated,
no,
and
true.
all the noise and everything that everyone tells you on LinkedIn, it worked for them doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Like,
No, exactly,
get back to the
exactly,
basics of simple list, enrich it, follow up consistently over time.
exactly, exactly. I agree with you.
So what then? What data tools are you using to feed into HubSpot? And maybe like this might be a bit more interesting than maybe some of the other guests, because you're doing, you're an agency. So are you using like lots of different data sources for depending on the campaigns, or do you have like one or two reliable ones and
Yeah,
sticking to them?
so we use quite a few. So of course, Klist is used in the
Yeah.
agency. That's a no-brainer. And then to get the data based on the clients, we are going to use LinkedIn Sales Navigator for
Hmm.
sure, and we use Clay as well, because Clay
Yeah.
is pretty interesting to specifically to dig into the signals for specific companies whenever the client has a very clear ICP,
Hmm.
and is also targeting more like um, in, yeah, the UK, or for example the US. We have some clients there,
Yeah.
and also like Australia, Singapore, and Hong Kong. Like Clay tends to have decent data there
Yeah.
that we can also complement with LinkedIn Sales Navigator.
Yeah.
So it's a good combination, I would say, of
Yeah.
those two.
And
And
are you
for
sort of
the
using that? just on that Clay, then are you using that like the waterfall kind of features
Exactly.
within it to make sure that, and you reconfigure them in certain ways depending on the region for that campaign.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And inside, as a email enricher, we have Hunter, we have Snove, we
yeah,
have Contact Out,
yeah.
we have I think that's, and we have Datagma as well. That I
Nice.
don't think
Yeah.
you have.
So all of those,
Yeah.
none of those are actually on this list at the moment
Okay.
because we're actually, and this is like kind of why the market is kind of confusing at the moment. It's like we're creating a whole new tier to put Clay into on this.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a research tier here
Yeah.
to separate that out. And you
Yeah.
have Clay within that, you'll have copy within that,
Okay.
and other tools. And
Okay.
then under that, we'll have the tools that work within that people can use.
Technically,
Um,
you would be sharing like some workflows.
Not workflows, but we'll be able to suggest and point to which, at the moment someone might buy Clay. They've got 1,000 credits. They need to get 300 mobiles.
Yeah.
They'll plug in the waterfall enrichment and it will
Yeah.
run through. But you have to configure that, and you want to configure that in the best way. So we're
Yeah.
going to try and make those suggestions based on
Okay. Ah,
what our
interesting. Okay.
partners are doing, what we're doing, and all that type of stuff. So that'd be another element here. So you've got at the moment you've got HubSpot, Scale List, LinkedIn, and then you're adding Clay in to get access to a number of other tools. I'm just
Yeah.
going to drop Better Contact onto there just as
Yeah.
uh, another waterfall provider in there. But this
Yeah.
gives you like really good coverage.
Yeah.
You're sticking with LinkedIn as like the go-to for the most
Yeah.
up-to-date data
It's just
and your
that.
list building.
So the reason why we, and we use Apollo as well. We have Apollo. That's something that I forgot to mention because I see the
Yep.
logo here, but we use Apollo. Um, the only thing is the coverage that they have, like Apollo and Clay.
Yep.
If you do some comparison with SalesNav, it's always missing data.
Yep.
So in terms of being able to map your addressable market fully,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the best is SalesNav.
100%.
So we tend to complement those tools
Yep.
with each other, and yeah, it's very difficult to just remove LinkedIn Sales Navigator from your stack. To be
Absolutely.
very frank,
And
this
so
is
then with Apollo,
yeah,
um, like, are you just using it for data and list building to like fill in the blanks and like give you some extra coverage, or are you using that for the actual email outreach and
both
others? Both.
both. So
Nice.
the way it works is that, let's say you have the ICP of the client
Yeah.
and you want to map an addressable market for them. We are going to compare who has the most data, like
Yeah.
SalesNav, Apollo,
Yeah.
Clay. Of course, SalesNav wins,
Mm-hmm.
and then based on then we're going to be able to segment that addressable market by tiers.
Yeah.
And one thing that is very useful in Clay is when you on your tier one, usually you have quite a few data points that are necessary
Mm-hmm.
to have like to be able to segment that tier one. Like you need companies with X number of people, X number of people per department. You need to
Yeah.
have that specific person in that department. They need to be there for X number of years. So it's very, very specific. With SalesNav, it's a little bit harder to get that granularity versus Clay,
Yeah.
it's easier. So for
Yeah.
the tier one, I would say Clay is very useful.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And this is something we speak about quite a bit. It's just like you want the better your segmentation and initial list build is, That's what's going to help your SDRs, your outbound sales team, perform
Yeah.
and have connections, generate more conversations, generate follow-ups,
Yeah.
not shiny tool syndrome, not
No,
throwing
for
another
sure.
tool at them, throwing another tool at them. And
Yeah.
the I imagine most of the SDRs, they're not the ones using Clay themselves. Or if they are, it's maybe the more senior one at the start of the campaign to get things ready.
So the way it works is we have uh, the guys who are handling managing the data.
Mm-hmm.
They are not the ones like doing calls. No,
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
no. So they exclusively work on the data. They are GTM engineers,
yeah,
and they just spend their days on Clay, on mapping data, on loading leads to specific campaigns on
yeah,
name list or instantly, and yeah, that's their work, and they need to think about that data because there is I would say sometimes for the agency we have clients they don't really, I mean, they know where they are going and they know that they have that specific ICP, but there are many tests that they haven't really run in the past,
yeah,
and that's their job to think about what are the tests that we could run for that specific
yeah.
clients, and what is that piece of data that we need to look for.
Mm-hmm.
And of course the SDR who are like spending their time doing cold calling, um, they know how Clay works in the sense that they're able to get their phone numbers, or
Yeah,
they know how to like play with the data, but they are not the ones who will be looking, enriching, and
yeah,
trying formulas and
yeah. You've
using
taken that.
prompts inside
Yeah,
Clay. They
you've
won't.
taken that distraction away from them. Like that,
Oh, for sure,
they use it
because
as get numbers, get the basic info, and execute on my
exactly.
calling.
And also, if you think about it, the GTM engineer and versus the SDR, usually they are two different personalities.
Yeah.
So the GTM that we have in the team, in the agency, they are
Mm-hmm.
introverted people.
Mm-hmm.
They like being on their own.
Yeah.
Of course, they can talk with clients, they can ask questions to clients, and they can handle a
Yeah.
client. But they are not the type of guy who enjoy grabbing the phone and dialing like 250 times a day.
Yeah.
However, on the other hand, if I tell my SDR, my account executive, hey, uh, you're gonna spend your day into like a Clay spreadsheet or a Clay table, no, they're gonna get bored because they like the human contact of
Yeah.
like calling people, trying to build relationship, and yeah, it's just like different personalities do
Absolutely.
different
And
type of jobs,
you
and
got to play.
they are very complementary.
Yeah, you got to play to people's strengths.
Exactly,
Play
hundred
to
percent.
people's strengths. Stop asking, your
Exactly.
most extroverted top cold caller to go and learn
Exactly.
what all these AI tools do. They won't enjoy it, and then you'll lose a good cold caller. It's better
Exactly.
to get someone who's a go-to-market engineer, someone like that. They can do all that like nitty-gritty work, look at the
Exactly.
data, all that stuff, and then feed your top callers. Um, where I think where a lot of companies have gone wrong, or are still like learning, they're still learning that difference. And you might have a really good SDR, and and you've got two options. They're like, well, we'll hire another SDR, and then we'll get double. So if you miss hire, then it's not going to work. And there's no, and unless you're set up to train and coach them, and the systems are set up to duplicate that SDR,
Hmm.
it might just be that that guy is just unbelievable. So the second person with the same setup won't do as well.
Yeah.
So you also have the option of, well, actually, and so then people start to say, well, why don't we give this SDR loads more tools? Let's give him Clay, let's give him this, let's give him that. And then actually he's just distracted, so he can't actually then continue to perform at the level he was.
Yeah, it
So
doesn't operate.
exactly. And so what you've managed to do there is like you've navigated that by actually, well, I can get him the outcome of what all these tools allow you to do, but I'll
Exactly.
get someone introvert to do, and I'll get more out of my top callers.
But our SDR, they spend a bit of time into Clay, for example, but we don't ask them to be technical. Not
Yeah,
at all.
yeah, no,
They
not
don't even do their list, but they need to understand how it's done.
yeah,
Because if, let's say, the GTM that is managing their account is, I don't know, sick or whatsoever,
yeah,
you need to be able to launch the waterfall,
yeah,
to get the phone numbers, do
mhm,
simple stuff,
yeah,
so they know in case something happens.
yeah.
But yeah, so far so good.
And what dialer are the team using?
How you not gonna be happy with me? We use Aircall
Ah,
because they are French, and no, honestly, I've always used Aircall, and I know that I mean, you've used Yakult quite a lot,
mm.
and but there are better tools for sure.
I think it depends. Like it's a very good dialer, but I don't think there's a lot special with it anymore. You
No,
know,
that's true.
I think for HubSpot, I think it's probably still one of the best ones there. I like for me, I'm using Just Call myself because
Okay.
I only have to cover myself. It's easy to set up, it's very reliable, and never have any downtime. Whereas if I was back in an agency, or if I was
Yeah.
in a wider team, it might
Yeah.
not be the right tool. Something like Aircall probably is a better option.
Okay.
What? So then is that, and then does that bring us to the end of sort of the stack, or are there other tools that you've got in there?
I
You know,
think
enablement, email.
no, I think that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. So here we've got, and this is what we say. Like a lot of the time, the stacks that we build in these videos, they're not massively complicated.
No.
I know you've also got Clay in here, and I've kind of subbed in another waterfall enrichment tool, um, but you've got good coverage of multiple like data and enrichment tools. You're
Uh-huh.
using the best database out there,
Yeah.
scraping that with scaled lists. You've got cells, you've got some other tools to back up with like other list builds if you need it,
Yeah.
and then you're calling.
Yeah.
Do you see like are there any tools out there or anything changes you see that you might start making soon or you're exploring more
Honestly,
of or
no, because we focus a lot on scale list at the moment. I mean,
yeah,
as I said, my time is mostly on scale list, so it's complex for me to look at too many tools at the same time.
yeah, yeah. Keep the team focused on the basics, have the go
Exactly.
to market engineers learn the new fancy stuff, have them
Exactly.
feed the top callers.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Excellent. Arnaud, always a pleasure to chat to you and thank you for
Thank you,
sharing
man.
everything.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.